Professor Kwadwo Appiagyei-Atua, what it's being said, even within the NPP already, is that there's a divided NDC. They are not united. And that is a sign that for those who think that breaking the eighth is not possible, if they can win against them, embarrass them in Parliament, they will do a similar thing in the general elections.
Well, thanks for having me. And I think what happened yesterday was a disappointment for democracy in Ghana from two fronts. The fact that there was that brouhaha and all the shenanigans that went on. And two, the outcome. I think that the outcome reflects poorly on Ghana's expectation of the majority of Ghanaians. If I suppose, looking at the fact that the ministerial issues were tied to the need for government to be less reckless in the use of scarce national resources at the point when we are going to the IMF and we need to put our house in order. And so, as a way of saying that government needs to also bear part of the burden and not just shift everything on the citizenry by trying to do the haircut and suspend payment of the pension and so on. It was a way for government to also bear part of the burden. And the general expectation of the citizenry was that Ghana, the minority, will stand up on the side of the people, as they have touted since the IMF issue, for example, came up, that really they will show leadership in this respect and let Ghanaians show that they are really on their side. But the results indicate otherwise, and it's in that respect, it's very unfortunate. Having said that, whether the NDC is united or not, it's at the end of the day, as Prof has said, it comes down to what the individual MP wants to do to remain in power. And you cannot easily dismiss some of the allegations and theories flying around that possibly some money may have changed hands so that it will enable these MPs to retain power or win their primaries and come back to Parliament. And so at this point, it looks like it's a question of what is important for the individual MP to be able to sustain himself politically and without looking at the larger national interest. And for that matter, it's one of the problems, as it's been said, that
they are MPs, including Rickett Hagan, who says this is an embarrassment that they have caused themselves. Should they see it that way, as an embarrassment? Some say why. Some say the change in leadership of the NDC in Parliament, which came with its own problems because of the lack of consensus, is partly to blame, and that this leadership too is not as strong as the Haruna-led leadership. But some say why. Even Chairman Sabonsu, a colossus like him, couldn't win a speaker, vote for the NPP. So what are you talking about? Why should they see this as an embarrassment?
Well, I'm not sure it comes down to the new leadership, or we can blame the new leadership for that. Because the NDC gurus were in Parliament, the chairman and all those people. So if the party had made a decision that this is the line you should toe and they don't toe it, then if any blame at all should be laid on the leadership, it should start from the national chairman right down to members of Parliament who are in leadership positions in Parliament. But I think that at the end of the day, it comes down to individual choices. And it's a question of how the MPs can look at the bigger picture, not just their personal interests or even the interests of the party, but the interests of the country as a whole. I think that they made a good point about the fact that there are some positions that can be aligned, or there are some positions that can be cut and some money saved in order to help even strengthen the governance system in the country and also save some money for the country. So these are the issues that I think should have influenced the outcome of the vote. But unfortunately, it didn't go that way. And I think Ghanaians will be disappointed in the NDC for not sticking out for them in this time of need.
Right. In a minute, what do you say about the parties appearing to want to dictate what must happen in Parliament, as in the leadership of the party? So when it has to do with Ken must go, you have a group of MPP MPs, over 70% of the entire MPP group come out to say that we don't need him and we want to remove him. The party issues a letter and says, no, you can't do this. This must go on. They lose it. They are unable to proceed with it. It's becoming a trend where parties will issue, letters and directives. Now the NDC also doing the same, issuing directives to the MPs there. Is it good or bad for the democratic practice that the parliament leadership is not giving a free hand to operate?
Yeah, it's a good point, but in all democracies, in all political party systems, we have a situation where the party has an agenda and they want membership to toe that line. They also, and therefore, for that matter, that's why we have the whip system in Parliament, so that the whip can ensure that the decision taken at caucus is what is reflected in their votes and the decisions they make in Parliament. But there are situations at times where they are allowed to vote according to their conscience, and that is where they are allowed that free vote to follow. And to determine if this is a good policy or not, I think it depends on the issue at stake. I think they have to read the mood of the country or the people and realize that this is what the people need in Parliament. And therefore, it is important that individual interests do not sidestep the realization of that goal for the larger good of the society.
Right. Let's hear from the... Yeah. Please complete your...
They toe the line. I think that is fair. It's all part of the democratic process.
All right.
But there are situations where it is just in the interest of the party. And therefore, in that situation, I don't agree with the decision to be forced or compelled to vote in one way or the other.
All right. Thank you very much. And